Hello, everyone. I'm Tharindu Liyanagunawardena, and I'm the Digital Accessibility Officer at University of Reading. So today I'm going to talk to you about a project that I did with my colleague, Professor Faustina Peng, and the project title is Digital Accessibility, Where Am I? So this is a project that we did at University of Reading with our staff to see where they are in their journey. Ensuring digital accessibility is really important to provide equitable learning experience for our learners. But what is digital accessibility? Digital accessibility is the practice of creating digital content that can be used by everyone. When I mean everyone, I'm also including people who may need assistive technologies to use the content. So, for example, instead of using a big bold font as your heading, if we are using heading styles, a person who cannot see but uses screen reader software will also see that as a heading. I will show this to you, demonstrate this to you later on. In the UK, we have a legal basis not to discriminate against people with disabilities. So, for example, we have had the Equality Act, where one of the protected characteristics is disability. But now we have the public sector bodies, websites, and mobile applications accessibility regulation of 2018, which is a more recent regulation that requires universities as public bodies to create accessible content from the get-go. And now, since last year's June, there is another regulation which is called the European Accessibility Act. So if a university has presence in the Europe, or a European student is taking a distance education course, perhaps, your university may come under this regulation as well. So it is not just the right thing to do, there is also a legal aspect to it as well. So let me give you a little background to our project. I started at University of Reading in 2022 in my current capacity as the Digital Accessibility Officer. At the time, we didn't have that much awareness among our staff and the university community about digital accessibility. So we did a short survey. We managed to plug it in with the IT services survey in 2022 December, asking 5 questions about digital accessibility, whether they knew about digital accessibility, whether they knew about the regulations, that sort of thing, very basic. And then we did a lot of accessibility awareness raising activities during the academic years 2023-24 and 24-25. So we repeated the same survey, same 5 questions in 2024. In 2023, with Global Accessibility Awareness Day, which falls on the third Thursday of the month of May, we ran a huge campaign called Look Again. This Look Again digital accessibility campaign ran for a month, and we tried to raise awareness within our university community about digital accessibility, and it was very, very successful. So in 2025, we thought, given that we have done so much work in raising awareness, so for example, in 2023-24, we had more than 750 people in our awareness programs. And the following year, we had over 300 people in our awareness programs. We wanted to ask a little bit more about their practice. You know about accessibility. Do you practice that? So this survey built on all of that work to look at the practice. So, aims of our survey. In this project, we wanted to identify the level of awareness, and the practical application. Previous surveys only asked about awareness, but this time we wanted to look at their practice as well. We asked people questions about their awareness about regulations, accessibility checking tools, and 7 accessibility principles and their engagement with those. This was used during the Accessibility Awareness Day celebrations, and we also wanted to use this opportunity to help people to learn a little bit more about digital accessibility. So depending on the answers that they gave, we also gave them little tips where they could learn. So basically like a personalized learning tool. And we also gave them the opportunity to download their responses along with the suggested learning materials. I will demonstrate this to you in a bit. So we had 15 items in the questionnaire, and we also included free text answers so that if they had something to tell us, they still had the opportunity to do that. It took about 5 minutes to complete it. It was a very quick survey. And the responses, as I said, could be downloaded as a PDF. We advertised this to all staff using staff portal, email mailing lists, staff network surveys, and awareness raising events that happened during the Global Accessibility Awareness Day 2025. We used JISC online survey to collect the responses, and the survey was live from 6th May to 31st July last year. The study received favorable ethical approval opinion of conduct from the School of Biological Sciences, where my colleague Faustina is based. So this is the survey that I wanted to show you. In this short video clip, I wanted to show you 2 things. One, how we presented extra information depending on the options they selected, and 2, how we allowed them to download the survey if they wanted to. I'm hoping this will work. Okay, it works. So this is the agreement for consent, and you will see that for each question, depending on the options that they select, they will be given more information. That's how we presented the additional information. So in the next question, I will show you that depending on whether they always practiced something, they get some information. And if they said they didn't know about it, they did not practice it, the given tips will be different. Again, you can see here, we direct them to learning opportunities within the university. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. The next part I want to show is when you submit, with the submission, you get the completed survey and then you can download it. So all the links that we have provided as personal learning opportunity, it is downloaded, and if they wanted, they could go back to it. So it's a learning opportunity for our colleagues. I told you about the resources that we linked to. So I want to introduce you to these resources as well. So we have an area in the university website about digital accessibility, providing guidelines. So these guidelines are based at different levels. So if someone is saying that they have never tried, headings, then you would want to give something for them to understand what a heading is. In that case, we would tell them or direct them to a place where they will understand headings are something that helps orientate someone within a document. Similar to what you see in the supermarket signposting, so that it allows you to orientate yourself within the supermarket flow. And this is a short video clip that I'm going to show you to give you the perspective from an assistive technology user. So in this short video clip, the first part will show you someone who has created a document without using headings and how an assistive technology user is struggling to navigate the document. And later on, I show if the document has been created using the heading styles, how it helps someone to navigate with assistive technology. I'll try to put the closed captions on so that it will be easier for you to see.
No next page. No next page. Data Protection Policy 2.2, the 21st of January, accessible Word. Microsoft Word document edit multi-line. Page 1, Section 1, Data Protection Policy, heading level 1. 1 purpose and scope, heading level 2. 2 definitions, heading level 2. Page 2, 3. Requirements, heading level 2.
So in this short video clip, what I wanted to show is that if the person creating this document had not used heading styles, an assistive technology user would have to sit there and wait for the assistive technology to read the whole document to them. But if you had used the heading styles, then they can navigate using the H key, the way that the assistive technology allows them to navigate the document. Right, so what were our results? In the 2022 survey, we had 105 responses. 2024 survey, we had 480 responses. And 2025 survey, we had 272 responses. If you look at the awareness of PSBR, that is the Public Sector Bodies Web Accessibility Regulations, previously we had 51% and 56% awareness about this regulation. But in the recent one, we had 65% awareness. So the awareness has grown a lot. But when you look at the practice, you can see we were doing really well in some areas, but not so well in other areas. The headings, adding document headings, we were doing really well 73% of the time. So the answers that we have given, we looked at people who would be doing these, practice these guidelines at least half of the time when they are creating resources. We saw that simple tables are used 72% of the time. This is not using complex tables or tables with merge cells or split cells, which are difficult for assistive technologies to navigate. Adding descriptive links rather than click here links, that was again good. We had done it 69% of the time. Being conscious about the color, use of color, again, 64% of the time. This is where we do not differentiate content based on the color, because people who may not see color due to color vision deficiency may not be able to differentiate those. However, when we looked at checking for color contrast, we only had people practicing that just 40% of the time. Also, providing alternative text for images, again, just 44% of the time. So we weren't doing so well on those things. Then we looked at our Blackboard Ally data. So if you can look at this as a way of triangulating, like we wanted to make sure that the picture that we are getting is actually the true picture. So we looked at Blackboard Ally data, which shows you how accessible your courses are on the VLE. And again, what we saw was that the highest number of accessibility issues on Blackboard were caused by, again, the color contrast and not having alternative text, corroborating what we had already found in our survey. Now I'm going to share some of the free text responses we received. And in those, you can see that people really want to do accessibility, but they find it's time consuming and that they have so much competing priorities that they can't put the time aside to do accessibility. And then they also see it as something non-urgent. Here you can see what they said about digital accessibility. They agree that it is something that they must do, but they are asking, do you have time to do all of these? And then again, in the other quote, the respondent says that they understand that this is really important, but they still struggle to find the time to do that. So here we can see the competing priorities for time is a really big factor when it comes to people not having time to create accessible content. In this slide, you can see we got a lot of positive responses about the survey and also the survey giving them little tips to advance their knowledge about digital accessibility. In the middle, you can see someone saying that they don't think they have sufficient IT knowledge to do all of these things. So upskilling staff is also something really important. So what are the findings? We found that we had really good level of awareness about accessibility regulations and the like. But there's sort of inconsistent practice when it comes to different areas of accessibility best practices. We think by replicating this survey or the study in different institutions within the UK, we can get a sector-wide picture of how staff is practicing accessibility, actually the awareness of accessibility as well as the practice across the higher education sector. So we invite you, if you are interested in doing this in your institution, to collaborate with us. Thank you.